Am I audible? Okay, thank you. A warm welcome and very good evening to all dear participants. Resource person of today's session, Dr. Uma Gupta ma'am, and chairperson of today's session, Dr. Neeraj Kumar Agwal sir. Today, we are having our lecture on basic pharmacognosy. Now, I would like to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Uma Gupta ma'am. Ma'am is presently working as a vice chairperson of Institutional Ethics Committee at Government Autonomous Medical College, Ratlam, Madhya Pradesh, and principal investigator under Women Scientists Scheme, component of Department of Science and Technology, DSC, Kiran Division, Department of Pharmacology, Government Medical College, Ratlam, Madhya Pradesh. Dr. Uma Gupta ma'am is a former consultant microbiologist in IDSP, National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, Delhi, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. Ma'am is having 12 years of postgraduate experience in basic research, clinical laboratory, clinical research, and epidemiological investigation. Ma'am has published more than 20 original research papers in various national and international journals. Now, I would like to request Dr. Uma Gupta ma'am to lead today's session on basic pharmacognosy. Please, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, in today's session, as Mr. Amit told, that we are discussing about the basic pharmacognosy. All the participants are listening?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Then should I start?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Definitely, ma'am. Please.
Okay. So, in today's session, we are discussing about the basic pharmacognosy. Okay, tell me first, have you heard about the term pharmacognosy earlier? Or it's a new term for you? Okay. Dr. M. Ramakrishnan. Okay. All you have heard about the term pharmacognosy. So you must have heard that many herbal medicines are used traditionally by many people since many years. However, there is no scientific validation which was done earlier, but from last 200 to 300 years, a lot of research has been done, a lot of studies has been done, and after that we have come up with this word, this term pharmacognosy. And we have been learning from few centuries about the term pharmacognosy. So it is a new concept. Definitely, it is a new concept, but the data which we have covered is old, almost thousands of years. Like in your subject, you have read in Ayurveda that the Ayurveda include many medicinal plants and many medicinal herbs which are already described in that many books, like in Ayurveda, in Unani, and Siddha, and homeopathic and 4-4 system. But what is the role of these drugs and how we use these drugs for the treatment of various ailments? So all these about all detail we study in the subject of pharmacognosy. Basically, this subject pharmacognosy deals with the use of crude drugs. The pharmacognosy deals with the crude drugs from which we isolate or we use it as a treatment for various elements. So if we are talking about that, what is the difference between the pharmacy and pharmacognosy? So in pharmacy, we study the, just a minute. In pharmacy, we study the pure or synthetic drug. But in pharmacognosy, we generally use the word crude drugs. Okay. So if we come to the definition of pharmacognosy, so it is derived from the two Greek words, pharmakon, it means drug, and gnosis means knowledge. So pharmacognosy is the study of medicinal drugs derived from plant or other natural sources. Natural sources can be plants, okay, animals, marine source, microorganisms. So these are the natural sources from which we can obtain these medicinal drugs. According to the American Society of Pharmacognosy derive it more elaborate, like it is the study of physical, chemical, biochemical, and biological properties of the drug substance or potential drug or drug substance of natural origin, as well as the search for new drug from natural sources. In other words, now in the modern advancement, pharmacognosy is described as systematic science of morphological, chemical, and biological properties, along with history, cultivation, collection, extraction, isolation, bioassaying, quality control, and preparation of crude drugs of natural origin. So this is about the definition of the pharmacognosis. What do you mean by the crude drugs? The crude drugs are the drugs which are obtained from the natural sources and used as it is without any further processing, except drying and size reduction. Okay, so now we move to the history. So we all know that if we come to the history of this pharmacognosy, so if we go into the primitive era, when we don't have the civilized society, from that time people used to be ill. It is not only the time when we are getting ill, but in the primitive man also getting ill, and how they treat themselves and by use of these medicines. They don't know about the medicine at that time. So when the primitive man went in search of food, he ate at random plants or their parts like fruits, leaves, and tubers. If they found any harmful effects, then they don't use this plant. If they found no harmful effect, they use it as a food. Or if they found it the other effect, they use these substances like treating symptoms or disease condition. If we are taking an example, if any plant caused diarrhea, so they used as a purgative of, or it is used as a arrow poison if they are causing a poisonous effect or death. So they used this as a arrow poison for the hunting of the people. So they use this but this information they didn't write in any documentation or any other where. They pass their information from generation to generation. So the knowledge was empirical and was obtained by the trial and error guesswork. So in next, if we start about the civilized society, then it was mainly considered in 5 regions: Indian subcontinent, Egypt, China, Greek, and Roman. In Africa, we have Egypt. In Asia, we have India and China. And in Europe, we have Greek and Roman. Although Americans also have their history, but it is not well documented. So we have few drugs which come from North America and South America, but their information is not as much as these 5 regions. So we are focusing on that area only. Okay. As well, you know that if we know about the history, then it gets sometimes bored. So we are not going into the detail about the history of this pharmacognosy because you all know about these words and in these terms. So we are discussing here about the brief about the history. So if we will start with China, ancient China. So when I was reading this history, I came to know the interesting fact about the ancient China, how the advancement of or discovery of these drugs came in the China. Like, Chinese drugs are is utilized worldwide because because of their efficacy, quality, and the way they have provide its scientific validation. So Chinese herbal drugs are well accepted worldwide. If we go back to the history, then it came to know that Chinese emperor knew that the health is the key factor to ruling an empire. So what happened? The only emperor have the right to performing research and studies on drug themselves. It was their rights only, and it was considered as a royal things to do a research on the these herbal medicines. So at that time, emperor have written many books. Yeah. Out of them, Shen Nung, 20 shower native herbal recorded 365 drugs. Means one drug for one day. They assume like one drug for one day. And how they smartly categorize these these 365 drugs into three categories. 120 drugs in emperor herbs. Do you know what is the emperor herbs? Emperor herbs considered as a high food good grade quality, which are used for the maintaining health. Like if we talk in the modern system of medicines, like in allopathy, we consume nutraceuticals or nutrient supplements for betterment of health. Like if we join the gym, so instructor provided nutrient supplements for the growing of muscles, like that. So at that time, emperor herbs are less toxic, or these were not toxic, so they used to be used for the maintaining of health, like ashwagandha, tulsi. If we consume, we feel rejuvenate. Next one is the 120 minister herbs. Minister herbs are the herbs which are using for the treatment of some disease. Okay? Like they have strong therapeutic actions, and they used to given a particular patient who have suffering some disease. Next one is the 125 servant herbs. Servant herbs are very highly toxic. These drugs include highly toxic and having some specific actions, like digitalis. For example, digitalis, which is used in the heart, and morphines deals with the sedative and analgesic with their therapeutic action, but they are very poisonous. So next, come to the ancient Egypt. In the ancient Egypt, the three books were written at the time of Egypt: Eberus Papyrus, Edwin Smith Papyrus, and Kahun Medican Papyrus. Okay? So in these books, they were described, like even Eberus Papyrus, they use 800 prescriptions and 700 drugs. Edwin Smith Papyrus, they use surgical interaction formula for cosmetics. And in the book of Kehun Medica, this is the major advancement in the time of Egypt. Because at the time of birth of a child, many women were died in that time. So this is the major advancement. Some drugs have been described in that time, like senna, honey, thyme, juniper, cumin, that were used for digestion. Like flax, aloe, caraway, garlic, onion. These are the drugs of that time. Now come to our country. Next to our country. You all know that we have a rich knowledge of Ayurveda, as well as in South India, we have Siddha system. These are the grassroots of our medicinal system, and our culture also based on the Ayurveda. The main book has been written in Ayurveda. We will not discuss about these parts so in detail, because you all are from the Ayurveda background and you all know better than me. So the basic medicinal texts which are included in the India are Charak Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, and Ashtanga Hridyam Samhita. In the history of Greek and Roman, some important scientists, the work of some important scientists and their period, like Hippocrates, Aristotle, Theophrastus, and the Sidler is the German scientist who coined the word pharmacognosy. Next, now come to the main part of that is the development in pharmacognosy. So basically in earlier phase, what happens, people used to collect some information and document it under pharmacognosy. But in later, from last 200 to 300 years, people have started using scientific techniques and studying this subject. And it has been seen that many other subjects like analytical chemistry, biochemistry, pharmacology, and molecular methods have helped in the development of pharmacognosy as a whole. Now we don't focus on the drug itself, but we try to study its chemistry, pharmacological effect, etc. Okay. What are the main ways in which we can develop the pharmacognosy? So before going to that slide, I would like to discuss that what are the major steps which initiate the development of pharmacognosy. So in this regard, this is the first step, the production of penicillin in 1928 by the William Fleming, the large-scale production in 1941 by Flore and chain penicillin. Second one is the isolation of reserpine from the Rauwolfia roots. It is known as because of the hypotensive properties. Next one is the vincristine and vinblastine, which is isolated from the vinca alkaloids and have anti-cancer properties. Vincristine have useful in the leukemia. Steroids hormone like progesterone were isolated by the partial synthesis. We will discuss it later in the next slide. Steroid hormone like progesterone were isolated from partial synthesis from diasterenin and other steroidal saponin by Markram methods. Cortisone and hydrocortisone are obtained from progesterone by chemical and microbial nodes. So now we are discussing the main ways in which we can develop the pharmacognosy. In this regard, we will first talk about the isolation of phytochemicals. What are the phytochemicals? Phytochemicals are the active chemical constituent which are produced from the plants. These are acting as a secondary metabolites also. So phytochemicals includes like phenolics, alkaloids, terpenes, carotenoids, and other nitrogen compounds. These phytochemicals, strong-acting substances such as glycosides of digitalates, alkaloids from vinca folio, ergot and opium alkaloids were isolated and their pharmacological activities were studied. Caffeine from tea leaves and coffee beans, vanillin from vanilla beans. Next one is the structure-activity relationship. So, as you know that the molecules or active constituents which is isolated from the plants have some pharmaceutical activity. So what is the reason behind this pharmaceutical activity? They have some structure. The structure molecule which have the particular properties or which are responsible for their particular properties. In our body and natural things, they have some kind of alignment, and this is known as the receptor ligand alignment. Okay, so if we start studying about the receptor protein or relationship between the receptor protein in our body and molecule present in the plant, we will be able to justify the role of these active constituents in our body and their therapeutic efficacy better. So if we will understand by this an example like tubocurarine and toxiferin from curare. These are isolated from the curare plant. These are the molecules, these are the active constituents which are isolated from the curare, have the muscles relaxant properties. And these muscles relaxant properties of this molecule are because of the quaternary ammonium group. In both the molecules, this quaternary ammonium group present, which is responsible for the muscles relaxant properties. Next example we will take about the reserpine. Reserpine has the hypotensive activity, as you know. So these hypotensive activity is because of the trimethoxybenzoic acid moiety. So by the use of pharmacognosy or by the development of pharmacognosy, we use or we can get the knowledge about the activity of this plant. Like lactone ring is essential for the activity of cardiac glycosides. Next, the development, drug obtained by partial synthesis of natural products. Like some natural products, in this setting, the process in which compound isolated from natural sources are used as starting material to produce other organic molecule is called as partial synthesis. What is the meaning of partial synthesis? Some product or some molecule are isolated from the natural sources. And these natural sources are act as a starting material to produce some other organic molecule, which have the better efficacy and better pharmacological effect. Like if we take the example, oxytocic activity of the methyl ergometrin is more than that of the ergometrin. The ergometrin is a molecule which is produced or which is synthesized from the natural products, and it is converted into the methyl ergometrin, which have the better oxytocic activity. Next, come to the biosynthetic pathway. What do you mean by the biosynthesis? Biosynthesis is a multi-step enzyme catalyzed process where substrates are converted into more complex product in living organisms. In biosynthesis, simple compounds are modified, converted into other compound or joined together to form macromolecule. Some of the important pathways in this include like Calvin cycle and shikimic acid pathway for aromatic compound. By the knowledge of this biosynthetic pathway, we can get the idea about the precursors. What are the precursors? Like if A is the natural product, and we are making A is responsible for the production of Z. So, what are the precursor, or what are the major steps, or what are the between steps from the synthesis of A to Z? Can it be synthesis from B to Z directly, or it is synthesized by the B to C to Z like this? So it used different steps, or it is directly synthesized from A to Z. So by this all process, we can get idea about the precursor and location of that pathway. Next, the technical products. Natural product, beside being used as drug and therapeutic aids, are used in a number of other industries such as food, beverages, spices. Like if we talk about the coffee beans and tea leaves, beside these being the source of caffeine, these are the source of caffeine. But nowadays it is used as a popular beverages. Like mustard seeds and clove are popular spices. Like cinnamon oil and peppermint oil, beside being used as carminative, are used as flavoring agent. Next one is the pharmaceutical ads. What are the pharmaceutical ads? Pharmaceuticals ads are the drug or other than drugs which have no or little pharmacological effect, but they are essentially used in the preparation of pharmaceutical dosage forms like tablet, injections, emulsions, and ointments. Example, if we take some examples, like volatile oil is used as a flavoring agent, gelatin is used for coating of pills and preparation of capsule cell, glucose, sucrose, and honey, these are the carbohydrates which are obtained from the plants. These are used as a sweetening agent. And some fixed oil and waxes are used as in the cosmetics. Next is the scope of pharmacognosy. If we talk about the scope of pharmacognosy, there is a broad scope of pharmacognosy in different branches of science. Pharmacognosy has enabled vegetative drugs under botany and animal drugs under zoology through taxonomy. So it is segregate the herbal drugs from the animal drugs. WHO has estimated that about 80% of the world population in developing countries depends on the herbal medicines for primary health care. Some of very famous drugs are like senna, aloe, ravalfia, turmeric, tulsi. And pharmacognosy, next, the pharmacognosy is the link between pharmacology and the medicinal chemistry. Hello, I'm audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Audible, ma'am.
So there is a vital link between the pharmacology and medicinal chemistry, as it enables isolation of purified natural drugs, convert into medicine, and evaluate its therapeutic effect. Pharmacognosy is also a link between Ayurvedic and allopathic system of medicines. If we take an example, so there is a Cadila Pharmaceutical. It is an Ahmedabad-based pharmaceutical company that developed a combination product with a collaboration with the Indian Institute of Integrative Medicines. This is combination product which are used to treatment of the tuberculosis. So pharmacognosy connect the Ayurvedic system or allopathic system of medicines. Next, someone studies about the pharmacognosy. or pharmacognosist can work in academics like teaching in colleges, universities, museum, and botanical garden. Pharmac- Pharmacognosy also used in the pharmaceutical industries for the research and development area. How this can be used in research tool on new drug developing agent? Uh, in many industries, they first isolated active chemicals from the crude drugs and they convert it into the suitable dosage form which can be acceptable in the allopathic system of medicines. Like we take some example like digitalis, which are obtained from the digitoxins, opium, which are obtained from the morphine. So it is used and it can be acceptable to modern system of medicines. A pharmacognosist also work in the government agencies like Medicinal Plant Research, in Ayush Project, CCRAS Institute, and Food and Drug Administration, etc. So modernization of this conventional or traditional dosage form is opening door to industrial pharmacognosy also. Later we will discuss about the different branches of the pharmacognosy and it is one of that industrial pharmacognosy. In this artemisinin is a, like we take an example of this, artemisinin is a new anti-malarial drug obtained from the Artemisia. Due to the rapid growth in demand and popularity of natural products, research has been directed towards patentable drug discovery and development in the field of pharmacognosy. Now I will introduce about the new term pharmacognostical scheme under the pharmacognosy. So what is this pharmacognostical scheme? To describe drugs in a systematic manner is known as the pharmacognostical scheme. In the pharmacognostical scheme, the drug is described in a systematic manner. It includes the following headings like biological source. What does this include? The biological name of the plant or animals of the drug and its belonging family. Botanical name include genus and species. Biological sources also include the family and part of the plant used as drug. Like for example, we take aloe, like aloe we written like aloe vera lineus. So lin, L-I-N-N, lin. So it belongs to the family Liliaceae. Next, like geographical source. Geographical means it includes the area in which plant is cultivated. Cultivation, collection and preparation, this include the method. What does it include? It includes the method, specific requirement and time of the cultivation and collection, storage condition and method of preparation for the market. These headings or this section include all these things. Morphological character, what do you mean by the morphological characters? Morphological characters of the plant part like length, thickness, color, order, taste, these includes morphological characters. In case of powder drugs, only we talk about the color, order, taste and texture. Next, microscopical characters. What are the microscopical characters? These are the one of the important aspects of pharmacognosy as it helps to identify the drug by their microscopical study. Next, chemical constituents. It include the chemical constituents present in the drug. Uses, it include traditional use and pharmacological activity of drug or the disease in which the drug is effective. What are the substituents? The drug which is used during non-availability of original drug is known as the substituent. It has same type of physiological active constituents, however the quality of drug may be different. What are the adulterants? Adulteration is defined as substituting original crude drug partially or wholly with other similar looking substance. With the knowledge of diagnostic character of drug, the adulterant can be detected. Chemical test. Knowledge of chemical test become more important when morphology of drug is not well defined. So now we come to the application of pharmacognosy. What are the application of the pharmacognosy? The drug derived from the natural sources have variety of application, but a natural compound may be highly active. A natural compound is highly active, but usually this is associated with high toxicity problem. So with the help of pharmacognosy, the properties of these can be changed and this is used as a drug. Like example, the toxic and therapeutic doses of digitalis are very close, which create serious problem to use this medicine by the patient alone. Next, some compounds are found in nature that give beneficial pharmacological action, but their potencies are too low to be employed therapeutically. So, by the use of pharmacognosy, the pharmacological action of a particular compound which is isolated from the natural sources can be changed or their potencies can be increased. Because there are so many branches of pharmacognosy has emerged now. We will discuss it later in the next slide. The yield of active natural products may be very low and thus the production cost of those drugs will be very high. As we know that the active constituents which are produced from the natural product are very low in quantity. So how we can increase the yield of this product? By the tissue culture development. In the tissue culture, we get the higher number of the required drugs by the use of tissue culture. So next one is that the source of a natural drug may be very limited with respect to geography, season and climate, etc. Now we come to the limitation of pharmacognosy. We have read about the applications of pharmacognosy, but there are some limitations, as you know, that at the present time, the prime sources of modern or allopathic medicines are synthesized in the laboratory by organic chemists. Till date, as we know in our area, surrounding area, people doesn't believe on the Ayurvedic medicines of system. They use allopathic medicine system rather than this Ayurvedic system of medicine. So what are the limitations? At present, the prime source of modern or allopathic medicine are synthesized in the laboratory by organic chemists. Only few compounds are isolated from plants which cannot be replaced by synthetic method. Like if we take some examples, we will explain by this. Morphine isolated from Papaver somniferum, vincristine and vinblastine. These are the anti-cancer drugs which are isolated from the vinca roots. This cannot be replaced by the synthetic method. The most potent anti-cancer drug Taxol, that is isolated from the Taxus brevifolia. The constituent of digitalis, which are isolated from the digitoxin, cannot be properly replaced by any synthetic drug like quinidine. Quinidine kahan use hoti hai? It is used for the treatment of arrhythmia. Okay, so these are the major limitation of pharmacognosy, and because nowadays the allopathic medicines are synthesized in the laboratory by the organic chemist. So now we come to the latest about pharmacognosy. In the development of pharmacognosy, the various branches of pharmacognosy has come up, like clinical pharmacognosy, analytical pharmacognosy, in which we study about the chemical activity of the natural substance, and industrial pharmacognosy have been established as the specialized and professional offshoot of pharmacognosy to meet the contemporary advancement in the field of pharmacognosy. The next branch of pharmacognosy is the molecular pharmacognosy. In the molecular pharmacognosy, what we study? What comes in molecular pharmacognosy, genomic pharmacognosy, and metabolomic pharmacognosy. In molecular pharmacognosy, by the use of molecular techniques, we resolve many challenges, like such as herbal and animal drugs categorized by molecular marker assay, conserving and utilizing wild resources on the basis of knowledge of genetic diversity, investigating the mechanism of active compound accumulation and obtain new drug with higher quality through genetic engineering. So by using these all things, we can get some high efficacy drug. Nevertheless, interdisciplinary collaborative research programs are essential for integrated development of traditional medicine. What do you mean by interdisciplinary research? Involvement of multiple sites or multiple studies for the one topic. Okay, so in this field also, in the field of pharmacognosy, interdisciplinary collaborative research programs are essential for integrated development of traditional medicines pharmacognosy research in education. So we have discussed all about this pharmacognosy detailed study, but what next? What is the use of all these studies? Do you know how many clinical trials have been done in the field of Ayurveda? Very less, I think. So that's why till date there is a lack of use in the Ayurvedic system. However, it is increasing nowadays, but people always prefer the allopathic system of medicines, na? Because evidence-based practice in Ayurveda is not being considered because of the lack of good quality clinical trials and enough publications. What is the use of clinical trials? Clinical trials form the main source of evidence-based medicines and thereby forming the backbone of clinical practice. So, for bridging the gap or bridging evidence-based practice and Ayurveda is a task because this empowers researchers and clinicians' decision making. So, I have mentioned some trials registered in Ayurveda over the specific time period. I take this reference from the paper published in Journal of Ayurveda and Integrated Medicines. According to this paper, it is PubMed cited. You can also take this paper from that using by this reference. So in that paper, it states that 208 trials registered in Ayurveda over the specific time period. मतलब from 2010 to 2015, only 208 trials have been done in the field of Ayurveda in India. How can we get this knowledge? We can get this knowledge from the website CTRI, Clinical Trial Registration of India. Because Registry of India, because any trials which is done in India involving human participants are registered in the Clinical Trial Registry of India before recruiting the first participants. Of this, 80% were single-centered and only 19% were multi-centered. A total of 6% of the registered studies were sponsored by the pharmaceutical companies, and no significant trends was observed in this category over the years. So I think there must be some challenges, or there might be some challenges for doing clinical trials in Ayurveda. So you are attending this research workshop, so your focus mainly should be on the research oriented. So because most of the research has been done about the drugs, what are their phytochemical constituents, how the drug is used. So it has been written and it has been documented, but the number of clinical trials are very less nowadays. So clinical trials are being carried out in India and more focus has to be done on that side. So the quality of studies to generate high quality evidence based on which firm recommendation shall be made. So we should focus our mind on the clinical trials in the field of Ayurveda. Thank you. Now session is open for questions.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for such a knowledgeable and informative session. I hope that all participants get benefited from today's session. Now the session is open for query round. If there is any query, then please raise your hand or write your query in chat box so I can send you unmute request.
Just a minute, Mr. Amit. I think Dr. Neeraj has joined, so introduce him as.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. After query session, we just introduce sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Very good evening, sir.
Dr. Oma, I was there. I was listening your session.
Unmute request, please unmute yourself and ask your query, sir. Dr. RPC.
गुड इवनिंग मैम.
Good evening.
मैम मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि आयुर्वेदा हॉलिस्टिक अप्रोच को अटेन करता है, लाइक कोई भी ड्रग
हम्म
के अंदर जैसे आपने कहा कि टॉक्सिक एलिमेंट्स भी है, टॉक्सिक प्रिंसिपल्स भी है,
हम्म
लेकिन अब हम लोगों का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो एक मॉलिक्यूलर बेस पर नहीं है, वो दोषों पर आधारित है। तो
ओके
उनका मेन फंक्शन है कि शम दोष, शमाग्निश्च, शम धातु मल क्रिय। तो हमें उन चीजों को बैलेंस करने के लिए उसमें टॉक्सिक एलिमेंट का पार्ट होता है। और मॉडर्न मेडिसिन सिस्टम है वो मॉलिक्यूलर बेसिस पे है कि एक ड्रग है, उसका एक कंपोनेंट निकाला और उसको रिसेप्टर पर एक्ट करवा के देखा कि वो एक्ट कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा है, लॉक एंड की थ्योरी से। तो आप
ओके
जब 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 अपन एक पैरामीटर सेट करते हैं, तो जब मॉडर्न मेडिसिन सिस्टम के पैरामीटर को आयुर्वेदा सिस्टम पर अप्लाई करेंगे तो ये कैसे पॉसिबल होगा? मुझे समझ नहीं आया मैम, मतलब।
डेफिनेटली ये पॉसिबल नहीं है इस तरह से, बट देयर इज ए लिंक, एज आई टोल्ड दैट देयर इज ए लिंक बिटवीन आयुर्वेदा एंड एलोपैथिक सिस्टम। तो फार्माकोग्नोसी इनको लिंक करने का काम करती है।
नहीं मैम, लिंक तो कर रही है, लेकिन लिंक एक सिर्फ एक प्लांट से कोई एक्सट्रैक्ट निकाला और उसका एक एक्टिव कंपोनेंट ले लिया और उसका मॉलिक्यूलर बेसिस देख लिया, तो
हम्म
क्या ये आयुर्वेदा को डिफाइन कर रहा है क्या? मतलब मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ कि जैसे एक मूली है, तो कच्ची मूली ले ली, पक्की मूली भी होती है, कच्ची मूली भी होती है। मूली का आधा पार्ट है, वाइट पार्ट है, पीछे वाले पत्ते भी है। तो अ, एक नेगेटिव पार्ट है वाइट पार्ट का कि वो वात को बढ़ा रहा है, लेकिन उसके पत्तों में वो क्वालिटी है कि वो उसको सबसाइड भी कर रहा है और कम्युलेटिव एक शानदार इफेक्ट दे रहा है। तो आप जब किसी चीज को टॉक्सिसिटी करके शो करते हैं, तो मतलब ये जस्टिफाई होता है कि नहीं होता है? मतलब अकॉर्डिंग टू मी मैम, सॉरी मैम, पर ये जस्टिफाई नहीं है कि अपन उनको टॉक्सिक कह करके उनको एरेडिकेट कर दे या उनको यानी साइड आउट कर दे कि ये नहीं है।
Definitely, we will not side out due to their toxic effect, but by the use of pharmacognosy, their toxicity can be reduced. And this is the application of pharmacognosy I have told you earlier. And if Dr. Neeraj want to say something because he is a pharmacologist, he can elaborate more. So he
Yeah,
can.
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ma. Actually, yeah. Question is very good. Actually, I would like to actually correlate with the clinical trials and the pharmacognosy. And there are two subjects. The first is Ayurveda science, and second is allopathic. So I am totally agree that Dr. Saab told this thing कि उनकी जो साइंस है उसमें बात पित्त कफ के अनुसार नेचर पेशेंट्स का होता है। एंड उसके अकॉर्डिंग वो दो तरह की उन्होंने बताई थी कि उसमें जैसे कि एक पत्ते का एग्जांपल इन्होंने दिया है। तो मेरा बस ये कहना है कि इसमें जो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स होते हैं, आपको जो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स में हर चीज का एक सिस्टम है, दिस इज कॉल्ड एविडेंस बेस्ड। जैसे आप रिक्रूटमेंट पेशेंट्स का करेंगे, तो आप पेशेंट्स का जो रिक्रूटमेंट है वो आप उसी के अकॉर्डिंग ही करोगे, ठीक है। इसके बाद बस क्वेश्चन ये है कि सपोज करो हम मूली लेते हैं, मूली तो उसमें कितनी मूली लेनी है, दैट इज कॉल्ड क्वांटिटेटिव एनालिसिस। जो आप कितनी क्वांटिटी में वो चीज लेनी है कि थेराप्यूटिक इफेक्ट आ जाए, ओके। तो वो थेराप्यूटिक इफेक्ट आ जाए और अल्टीमेट टॉक्सिक हो जाती है, ठीक है। अब कुछ ऐसा होता है जैसे पैरासीटामोल है, दैट इज द वाइड थेराप्यूटिक इंडेक्स। तो पैरासीटामोल में क्या होता है, एक गोली लो, दो गोली लो, 20 गोली, 30 गोली जब आप ले जब जाके टॉक्सिसिटी आती है। वेयर एज इन कॉन्ट्रास्ट टू दिस डिजॉक्सिन, जैसे डिजॉक्सिन आपने बताया, उस डिजॉक्सिन में क्या प्रॉब्लम होती है कि थोड़ी सी डोज ज्यादा होती है वो टॉक्सिक हो जाती है, ठीक है ना। तो कहने का मतलब ये चीज आप किससे पता लगाओ, ये चीज आप पता लगाओ क्लिनिकल ट्रायल हम जब करेंगे। तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि इसमें हमारा कोई कि टॉक्सिसिटी, ये जो डॉक्टर साहब कह रहे हैं कि टॉक्सिसिटी ये हमारा पार्ट ऑफ द आयुर्वेदा है, ऐसा नहीं है। पार्ट ऑफ द आयुर्वेदा नहीं है आपका, यदि उसके बेनिफिशियल इफेक्ट किस टॉक्सिसिटी किस टॉलरेबल है या नहीं है, दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट। यदि आपके पैथी के हिसाब से वो टॉलरेबल है, तो वो आप जब प्रोटोकॉल उसको बनाएंगे, तो उस प्रोटोकॉल में आप उसमें जिसमें करते हैं हम एक्सपेक्टेड साइड इफेक्ट दैट इज टॉलरेबल। तो आप जब प्रोटोकॉल बनाएंगे तो आप उसमें वो ऐड कर सकते हैं। तो इसीलिए बोलते हैं जब आप कोई भी ट्रायल करते हैं तो आप जीसीपी ट्रेंड, गुड क्लिनिकल प्रैक्टिस ट्रेंड होते हैं, मींस यू आर द पीआई एंड यू आर द रेस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर एनी अनटोवर्ड रिएक्शन फॉर इन द पेशेंट्स बाय योर ड्रग। तो यदि पीआई को पता है कि भाई मेरी इस ड्रग से शुरू में कुछ इस तरह का इफेक्ट आएगा बट अल्टीमेटली बेनिफिशियल इफेक्ट आएगा, तो उस हिसाब से वो प्लान करेगा, पर अल्टीमेटली करना तो पड़ेगा ही। तो कोई भी आप चीज जब तक आप उसको एविडेंस बेस्ड नहीं करेंगे तब तक ग्लोबली उसकी एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं मिलेगी। तो ये मुझे लग रहा है, आई थिंक मैं ये सब बात क्वेरीज मे बी आई हैव टच अपॉन दिस थिंग। या डॉक्टर उमा।
Dr. Neeraj, you have elaborated in very good manner. I think
डॉक्टर साहब उनसे जो
tell that he is satisfied or not.
Dr. Api Singh,
Your valuable insight, but still I'm not satisfied how you are doing. But this is mine personal problem, you can say.
नहीं नहीं
But
आपकी
thank you so much.
प्रॉब्लम बिल्कुल
Thank you so much for valuable
यदि
insight.
जो जिस तरह से आपने ये इंटरेस्ट प्रॉब्लम को अराइज किया है, यही एक्चुअली अल्टीमेटली आयुर्वेद के लिए आगे फर्दर जो एविडेंस बेस्ड मेडिसिन जाएगी, ये उसकी दीज आर द सम बेसिक थिंग्स दैट मस्ट बी एवरीबॉडी मस्ट बी क्लियर।
है वो उसको डिफाइन नहीं कर पा रहा है। आप हमेशा एक नीम को उठा लिया, करेले को उठा लिया, भूमि अमलकी को उठा लिया, वासा को उठा लिया, पाठा को उठा लिया, बट when we are trying to establish our compound formulation, then the modern medicine system deny to do this.
I agree.
Why the modern medicine system not agree or not trying to do about the compound formulation?
We have to make some actually today's situation is there, the GCP guideline. Have you seen the GCP guideline of Department of Ayush?
Yes, sir.
It has copy paste from international GCP. उन्होंने गुड
Exactly, यही तो
जिस तरह से आपने इंटरेस्ट एक डेवलप किया है, तो हम उसमें क्या होगा कि जो इंडियन जो इसीलिए इसको बोला है इंडियन मेडिसिन सिस्टम, इस मेडिसिन सिस्टम्स के अकॉर्डिंग हम जब कार्य करेंगे, मतलब हम आप उसके अकॉर्डिंग हम वो ये एक्सप्लेन करेंगे कि भाई ये जीसीपी है, ये हमारे इसमें अप्लाई नहीं होगी, तो ये इसमें पैरामीटर्स होने चाहिए। आप उसका एक प्रेजेंटेशन प्रिपेयर करें, उससे कंपैरिजन करें, कंपेयर एंड कॉन्ट्रास्ट, देन प्रेजेंट टू द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष, and then you make a valid your reasons कि how why it should be differ from that। तो ये आप करें तो
Uma
ये
ma'am,
आगे के
Uma
लिए
ma'am, earlier it only 200 publications are there
Yeah.
because the publications are measuring on the reference of the modern medicine system.
No,
Then
no, no.
how
These
can
are
we-
not publications. These are the trials which are registered in CTRI. These are the
आई वुड लाइक एक्चुअली इनकी जो क्वेरी है उसमें एक ये भी जैसे अभी इन्होंने बताया ये वर्क करेंगे, तो आप उसमें मुझे बताइए जैसे कोई ट्रायल्स इंडिया में चल रहे हैं, तो ये हम सपोज करो कोई एग्जांपल कोई किसी भी रिलेटेड टू फार्माकोग्नोसी कोई भी यदि ट्रायल्स चल रहे हैं जो आयुर्वेदिक कॉलेज में है या एलोपैथिक या किसी हॉस्पिटल में विद कोलैबोरेशन विद आयुर्वेदिक कॉलेज, तो वो कहाँ पे हम उनको पूरा हमें मिल सकता है उसके बारे में आइडिया?
देखिए, अगर आपको ये आइडिया लेना है, विजिट द वेबसाइट CTRI, क्लिनिकल ट्रायल रजिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडिया, because before doing any clinical trial or academic trial in India, you have to registered with the CTRI before recruiting the first participants even. So all the detail you can get from their website.
तो ये मुझे लग रहा है जो ऑडियंस में से ये लोग यदि इसमें देखेंगे तो काफी उससे भी आइडिया लग जाएगा
बिल्कुल
प्रेजेंटली क्या क्या चल रहा है इसमें।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल ये
एंड
डुप्लीकेसी काम करता है, आपकी डुप्लीकेसी नहीं होगी। इफ यू वांट टू डू द क्लिनिकल ट्रायल अबाउट एनी पर्टिकुलर केमिकल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट और इवन पर्टिकुलर ड्रग, तो डुप्लीकेसी आपकी नहीं हो सकती बिकॉज यू कैन गेट ऑल द डेटा फ्रॉम दैट वेबसाइट।
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू।
Dr.
Good evening, ma'am. It was very great session. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, my query was same as earlier. Same ही doubt था
Okay, now it is clear. Now you are satisfied, or you are also not agree with the explanation,
Uh,
Dr. Neeraj?
no, ma'am, actually, the problem is not outside, it is inside our system.
Okay.
So we can't say to others,
I think
first we have to correct ourselves, our system, whatever
I
is
think
going
you
on.
are the people who can correct our system.
Yes, 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 ma'am.
You are the youths, and in the Indian youths are very energetic to do the research, the field of research.
मैं
Yes,
एक्चुअली डॉक्टर in doing the trials or doing the research in the Ayurveda science. Yeah, actually, as far as the ethics committee is concerned, ethics committee का भी I have read one article of Journal of Ayurveda Science, Integrated Medicine. So ethics committee is also not registered in any authority in the Ayurvedic college. So that is again challenging for doing the research. So I think again this would be, that would be the second important part that must be touched upon by the youth, by the youngsters to the Department of Ayush. That robust
Absolutely.
mechanism of institutional ethics committee that must be placed in the Ayurvedic college or doing any research.
Yes, I agree, Dr. Neeraj.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for very interactive discussion round. I think there is no other query. Now, I would like to introduce today's chairperson of the session, Dr. Neeraj Kumar Agrawal, sir. Sir is currently working as an associate professor in the Department of Pharmacology, Government Medical College, Ratlam, Madhya Pradesh. He is also a member of Secretary in Institutional Ethics Committee and is a former principal investigator in Jubilant Life Science, a reputed pharmaceutical company for CT phase 1 and B&B studies. Sir had conducted more than 300 clinical trials, phase 1 and bioavailability and bioequivalence studies as investigator in pharmaceuticals. Sir had published more than 25 original research papers in various peer-reviewed national and international journals. Now, I would like to request today's chairperson, Dr. Neeraj Kumar Agrawal, sir, to share his views and conclude today's session. Please, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Most of the part actually at the during discussion I touched upon, but actually there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This was a yes, sir. Yes, sir. This was a very interactive session, sir.
And who is expert in the ethics committee. So yeah, uh, am I session is very good and the फार्माकोग्नोसी में मैम ने बिल्कुल सही बताया. फार्माकोग्नोसी जो मेजर पार्ट है वो आयुर्वेदिक साइंस में मेजोरिटी ऑफ द ड्रग्स दैट इज टेकन फ्रॉम प्लांट ओरिजिन. ओके, so crude extract, compound and chemically that is a separate issue, but majority of the drugs that is taken in the Ayurveda science is from plant origin. Okay, as compared to the allopathic science. So I have allopathic doctor. I did MBBS and MD pharmacology. So I can say that plant origin is one of the most important part for doing the clinical trials. As far as the today is concerned, as कोरोना आया था तब हमने देखा कि कोई भी ड्रग नहीं रही, तो इसीलिए रिसर्च की तो हमेशा आवश्यकता है ही. और इसमें आप देख सकते हैं जैसे कि एग्जांपल इन्होंने बताया, तो मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देके ख़त्म करता हूँ अपनी बात को कि जो एंटी मलेरियल ड्रग होती है दैट इज कॉल्ड आर्टीमिसिनिन ग्रुप. तो आर्टीमिसिनिन ग्रुप्स इंक्लूड्स आर्टी मीथर, आर्टी ईथर. So this is the drug of choice nowadays, drug of choice for the malaria, especially the complicated malaria. So it is, this drug is derived from Chinese plant. तो चाइनीज सिस्टम में भी उनके जो प्लांट्स हैं उनसे भी ओरिजिन होता है. और ये एक शानदार एग्जांपल है. मैं आपको 2 एग्जांपल या 3 एग्जांपल बता सकता हूँ जो डायरेक्ट प्लांट ओरिजिन है, जो ड्रग्स बहुत ज़्यादा यूज होती है. लाइक फर्स्ट इज artemisinin, second is quinidine. Quinidine is also a drug of choice for plasmodium falciparum infection in pregnant female. क्योंकि प्रेगनेंसी में क्विनिडीन सेफ है, हाउएवर इट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट टॉक्सिक ड्रग। इसीलिए डोज इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि उसकी थोड़ी सी डोज ज्यादा हो जाएगी तो टॉक्सिसिटी डेवलप कर देगी, और इसकी डोज यदि ऑप्टिमम रहेगी तो इट इज ए ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस। एंड थर्ड इज डिजॉक्सिन, द सेम सिचुएशन विद डिजॉक्सिन। डिजॉक्सिन it is also a very good drug for the CHF, congestive heart failure। एंड डिजॉक्सिन भी नैरो थेरापेटिक इंडेक्स ड्रग है, थोड़ी सी डोज ज्यादा होती है इसकी टॉक्सिसिटी हो जाएगी, और ऑप्टिमम डोज में वो रामबाण है। सो यही सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हम प्लांट में से कोई यदि ड्रग ले रहे हैं उसकी सबसे पहले प्री क्लिनिकल स्टडी करें, देन प्री क्लिनिकल स्टडीज में इफ वी गेट द गुड रिजल्ट्स देन वी गो फॉर द क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स, एंड क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स रिमेन फेज 0, फेज 1, फेज 2, फेज 3, फेज 4। यदि कोई भी ट्रायल करने में हमें सिस्टम से दूर जाना पड़ रहा है, हमें ऐसा लग रहा है कि हम इस सिस्टम में नहीं कर सकते, तो इट मीन्स हमारे सिस्टम के अंदर कोई लैकिंग है। तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी हैव टू मेक आवर ओन सिस्टम, देन वी विल इंटीग्रेट विद द ग्लोबली, दैट मस्ट बी एक्सेप्टेबल टू द ग्लोबली, दैट इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट। हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि हमारा सिस्टम में इस तरह का है, हमारा सिस्टम मैच नहीं कर सकता उससे, क्योंकि सिस्टम जो ग्लोबली एक्सेप्टेबल सिस्टम है वो ही काम करता है। सो समय की जो आधुनिक जो युग है उसमें हमें आयुर्वेद को एक्सेप्ट करवाना है, तो उसके लिए ट्रायल्स और दैट इज कॉल्ड एविडेंस बेस्ड मेडिसिन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। सो थैंक यू सो मच। या प्लीज।
Thank you very much, sir, for sum up today's session. And thank you, ma'am. Now, from the Joint State Training Center of Rajasthan, we convey our sincere thanks to all the participants for their active participation and commitment for today's session. We heartily thank the guest speaker of today's session, Dr. Uma Gupta, ma'am, who kept participants engaged by a very informative and interactive session. We also thanks for chairing today's session, Dr. Neeraj Iqbal sir, and sharing his experience and views about the session with the participants. Thank you very much, sir. Now, this is the end of today's session. Tomorrow we start sharp 6 p.m. Thank you. Thank you again to all of there. Thank you.
Thank you.